The sound wasn't a roar. It wasn't the legendary, unbreakable hum of the 5.7-liter V8 that had carried the brand's reputation on its back for nearly 2 decades. It was a knock. A rhythmic, metallic death rattle coming from deep within the bowels of a machine that had fewer than 5,000 miles on the odometer. This wasn't supposed to happen. Not to the company that invented the concept of Kaizen. Not to the brand that built its entire empire on the promise that if you bought their truck, you would pass it down to your grandchildren. But in a sterile service bay in San Antonio, a master technician held a magnet up to the oil pan of a brand new $65,000 flagship vehicle, and what he pulled out wasn't oil. It was glitter. Tiny, razor-sharp shards of machined steel that had traveled through the arteries of the engine, bypassing the filter, and embedding themselves directly into the main bearings. This single mechanic, staring at the metallic sludge on his fingertips, was looking at the first physical evidence of a catastrophe that would eventually cost the world's largest automaker over $1 billion. This is not just a story about a recall. This is a forensic autopsy of an engineering gamble that went horribly wrong. This is the hidden truth behind the debris that shattered the illusion of invincibility. To understand the gravity of this failure, we have to go back to the decision that started it all. The death of the UR Series V8. For years, the automotive world knew the V8 was on borrowed time. Emissions regulations were tightening, fuel economy standards were rising, and the pressure to innovate was crushing. But for this specific manufacturer, the V8 wasn't just an engine, it was a trust fund. It was an antiquated, inefficient, gas-guzzling iron block that simply refused to die. It was the reason customers paid the reliability tax. When the decision was made to execute the V8 and replace it with the V35 AFTS, a complex, twin-turbocharged V6 hybrid system, the internal engineering teams knew the margin for error was zero. They weren't just changing an engine, they were changing the soul of the vehicle. And to build this new marvel of engineering, they needed new production lines. They needed advanced casting techniques. They needed speed. And that is where the gamble began. Deep inside the Alabama Independent Complex, the machining process for the engine blocks involved intricate boring and honing operations. These are violent processes. They strip away metal to create the microscopic tolerances required for a high-performance turbo engine. Standard protocol in engine manufacturing dictates a rigorous, multi-stage cleaning process to remove the swarf, the waste metal shavings created during machining. But something in the process failed. Not just once. Not just on a Friday afternoon shift. But systematically. For a specific period of production, the cleaning process did not clear the debris from the deepest recesses of the engine block assemblies. These microscopic assassins sat dormant in the oil galleries, waiting. When a customer took delivery of their new truck, everything seemed perfect. The twin turbos spooled, the torque hit low in the rev range, and the technology dazzled the press. But as the engine cycled, as the oil heated up and flowed under high pressure, those dormant metal shavings were dislodged. They didn't go to the filter. They went straight to the crank pin bearings. A bearing is designed to ride on a film of oil, never touching the metal of the crankshaft. It is a hydrodynamic miracle. But introduce a piece of steel debris into that film, and it acts like a diamond cutter. It scores the bearing. It gouges the crankshaft. Friction spikes. Heat builds. And then, inevitably, the bearing seizes. The connecting rod, suddenly welded to the spinning crankshaft by friction, snaps or punches a hole through the side of the block. The engine doesn't just fail, it self-destructs. The corporate response to the initial reports was classic silence. Isolated incidents. Bad fuel. Driver error. The usual defensive perimeter established by legal teams to minimize liability. But the forums didn't stay silent. Owners began posting videos. The sound was unmistakable. The main bearing knock. It became a meme before it became a recall. As the numbers climbed, 100, 500, 1,000 engines, the data became impossible to ignore. Dealers were overwhelmed. Back orders for short blocks stretched into months. Customers who had traded in their million-mile V8s were now driving loaner Corollas, while their $60,000 trucks sat in pieces in the back of a shop. The betrayal was palpable. Then came the whistleblowers. Information began to leak from the supply chain about machining debris. It wasn't a design flaw, they claimed. It was a manufacturing defect. This distinction is crucial in the corporate world. A design flaw implies the engineers were incompetent. A manufacturing defect implies the factory was sloppy. For a brand that prides itself on the way, a philosophy of manufacturing perfection, admitting that their factories left trash inside their engines is a humiliation worse than a design failure. It strikes at the very heart of their identity. The financial implications are staggering. We are talking about replacing the entire long block assembly. In a modern vehicle, this is a cab off repair. The entire body of the truck must be lifted off the frame to access the engine. It requires 30 to 40 hours of labor from a master technician. The parts cost alone is upwards of $15,000 to $20,000 per unit. Factor in the labor, the loaner cars, the logistics of shipping heavy iron blocks around the world, and the administrative costs. Now multiply that by the potential 100,000 units affected. The math is brutal. $1 billion is a conservative estimate. But the money is replaceable. The reputation is not. This scandal arrived at the worst possible moment. The market is shifting. Chinese EV manufacturers are proving they can build quality at speed. American legacy brands are refining their heavy-duty offerings. The one thing, the only thing, that justified the premium price of this truck was the guarantee that it would work. That it was bulletproof. By releasing an engine filled with debris, the company didn't just break an engine, they broke the contract with their customer base. They proved that in the race for efficiency and modernization, they cut corners in the one place they swore they never would, the clean room. We are now seeing the fallout. The recall announcement was finally made, covering roughly 100,000 vehicles. The remedy? Engine replacement. Not a fix. Not a part swap. A total heart transplant. This is an admission of total loss. It is the automotive equivalent of a surgeon leaving a scalpel inside a patient, realizing it a year later, and having to perform the surgery all over again for free. The logistics of this recall will clog service centers for years. It will depress the resale value of these specific model years for decades. Just like the 3.0 slow or the head gasket eras of other brands, the debris-era trucks will carry a scarlet letter in the used market forever. This is the hidden truth. It wasn't just debris. It was hubris. It was the belief that the system was so perfect it didn't need to be checked. It was the arrogance of a giant that forgot that even the smallest grain of sand can bring a machine to its knees. As we look at the stripped chassis of these trucks, hanging on lifts across the country, we aren't just looking at a mechanical repair. We are looking at the physical cost of compromising on quality. And for the loyalists who defended the brand for years, the silence of that seized engine is the loudest sound in the world.